कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे, हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2, देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, government scheme creates more than 500 jobs. Police force addresses insensitivities and witness breakdown in court.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
More than 500 people have been recruited in the first round of the Stronger Together Job Support Scheme. Minister for Economy Ayasai Kayum says the government is trying to mitigate the job losses caused by COVID-19. Kelly Vadala reports that several employers have come on board, eager to hire staff based on the government subsidy.
The pandemic has caused tens of thousands of job losses, but the government's new job scheme has received a lot of positive response.
It has to be in addition to those people they already employ. We are contributing to 68 an hour. They simply have to pay the FNPF component, which is now 5%. And as we said, they have to comply with the law. Should the position have another minimum wage, which is higher than 268, they have to pay that.
The Fiji Revenue and Customs Service, which facilitates the scheme, has assured there will be no delays.
FRCS, once the documentation is done, will pay 1 month's salary in advance to the employer for the number of positions that have been approved.
For some of these employers, providing jobs is part of their social responsibility.
We have lost for almost 15. 10 we are going to hire that in our warehouse section where they'll be used in packaging. Another section we'll be taking them in is the sales assistant as well.
We are going to look into employing mostly process level workers at the moment.
The new jobs are based on 3-month contracts, but the government is hoping Fijians will be able to find permanent employment through the scheme. Round 2 of the job scheme is now underway, and the government is calling on employers to take interest in the initiative and help Fijians get back on track during this difficult time. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vurengam Bainimarama has told members of the disciplinary force to be wary of the Social Democratic Liberal Party. Following a remembrance ceremony for the 2000 mutiny yesterday, Bainimarama spent time with military personnel, claiming that SEDELPA supporters outside of Fiji are encouraging a repeat of the violence. Apanisa Wangarandovu reports.
The Prime Minister told the disciplinary force that he knows the political landscape in Fiji and called on them to be vigilant of SEDELPA and its supporters.
The SEDELPA supporters are writing from outside, calling for a repeat of the 2nd November incident. You must be aware of these talks. They are calling for taking over in the military camp.
Bainimarama says those who inflicted the 2000 mutiny are still wandering around and nothing has changed for them.
Nothing has changed for those who participated in the 2000 coup. They have brought nothing good to the country. We should not forget that.
The Prime Minister says the steps taken in 2006 had a goal and vision in mind, which the RFMF should never lose sight of.
We decided in 2006 to change things, removing the problem and bring a new journey that we are taking now. We've said someone will be leading us, and we should not forget that decision.
Bainimarama told the force they should not forget the oath to serve every Fijian equally. SEDELPA leader Sitiveni Rambuka has issued a statement this afternoon saying Bainimarama must be vigilant and be cautious of headwinds facing the nation today rather than dwelling on the past. Questions have also been sent to the party's General Secretary. Apiniso Wangarandobu, FBC News.
Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravu says the force is struggling to ensure that officers don't further traumatize victims of domestic violence. ACP Tundravu says some questioning tactics are irrelevant. The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre is training officers on how to respond to violence against women, girls and children. Koroi Tandulala reports.
It's sad to note that we have the legislation in place, yet our police officers tend to go otherwise.
The acting police commissioner emphasized that officers must remove preconceived ideas about gender-based violence before engaging with any victim.
This is something that we really bad at it, how we treat our victims. I'm sorry to say this. It's like we are interrogating the victims as like a suspect, so to speak. Remember, identify who is the victim, who is the suspect.
The people who are responding to them, there are certain principles they should be, and that is victim-centered, survivor-centered approach. The people who are dealing with it must know the law, they must know the dynamics around it.
ACP Tundravu adds tradition and culture often impact the way gender-based or domestic violence cases are handled and even cloud officers' judgment.
And I always re-emphasize the need for us to know our powers, the perimeter of our powers. Where do the powers of the police end? And how we, as a police officer, exercise those powers within the law.
FWCC coordinator Shamima Ali says while police are making good progress, there are still some entrenched sexist attitudes that are difficult to shift.
For us, it's really important that police, as the main stakeholder, is able to protect and respond appropriately.
The training will also include relevant laws, awareness on the National Service Delivery Protocol, and exploring prevention strategies. Corey Tandulala, FBC News.
A woman broke down in court today as she gave evidence of the alleged murder of her 4-month-old daughter. Mereseni Rauluni relayed the alleged incident from October last year, where her husband is alleged to have caused the death of their child. Apinisa Wangarindova reports Rauluni took the stand as the second state witness against murder-accused Tevita Kunawave.
It is alleged Kunawave threw a concrete block at Rauluni, but it hit their daughter instead, resulting in her death. In the High Court today, Rauluni gave evidence that Kunawave left home at 2 a.m. the day of the incident to drink with 2 friends and returned home intoxicated at about 11 a.m. The mother of the deceased claims that the accused had a mobile phone with pictures of 2 women and she broke the phone in anger. The High Court heard that Rauluni was allegedly punched, kicked, dragged around the house and beaten with a belt by the accused. She also claimed that Kunawave broke the mesh wire on a window to get to her as she had locked herself in a room because she was afraid. The court heard that this was when the accused allegedly threw a concrete block through the same window. However, it missed Rauluni and hit her 4-month-old daughter instead. She adds that she rushed her daughter to the hospital with help from neighbors. Rauluni broke down in court while confirming that she later had to identify her daughter at the hospital mortuary. The trial continues in the Suva High Court. Apinisa Wangarindova, FBC News.
The lawyer for Naita Asiri under-19 lock Keresi Maya will file a stay order in the Suva High Court. Maya is charged with 1 count of assault causing actual bodily harm for allegedly punching a referee during a game in August. His lawyer will apply for the case to be dismissed as Maya has already been penalised by the Fiji Rugby Union. The defence will argue that it will be unfair to penalise him twice for the same case. The FRU has banned Maya from all levels of rugby for 6 years for an act of foul play. Both defence and prosecution have been given 3 weeks to file submissions. The case will be called again for mention on the 20th of January. Up ahead, police continue to investigate Facebook commentator and slow business for Namaka taxi drivers.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Fijians with mental illnesses are turning to traditional healers rather than seeking professional help from the St. Giles Hospital. Medical Superintendent Dr. Kieran Gaikwad says patients spend the crucial years of their illness with traditional healers, and when they do turn up to the hospital, they're in the advanced stages. Kritika Kumar reports.
Dr. Gaikwad says Fijians need to understand that mental illnesses need to be treated at an early stage.
And we may not achieve the best what we should have achieved in that person. So we always advise the patient, if as soon as you see initial symptoms of the mental illness, you should present to the doctor or hospital, not to the traditional healers.
The medical superintendent for St. Giles Hospital has highlighted that the cases admitted are just the tip of the iceberg.
If they are treated initially, an early stage, there is high chances of recovery and to be better and faster. But the more the late presentation to the hospital, the more the recovery is difficult.
According to Dr. Gaikwad, if the pandemic persists, there might be a surge in cases of anxiety and stress. Psychotherapist Simone Tuni says there has been a spike in Fijians aged between 25 to 40 years seeking psychological and emotional support.
This is really our young people who should be driving the economy. These are our young people and people who are experts in the field and in their 40s who are knowing the job very well.
Tuni says people should look out for the early symptoms of mental illnesses as they have noted an increase in men suffering stress and anxiety due to the pandemic. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Police force is still extracting information from the items seized from Facebook commentator Kishore Kumar. Spokesperson Ananai Soro says investigators may take Kumar in for questioning once the current process is complete. Kumar was caution interviewed and released last week in relation to his Facebook post attacking National Federation Party MP Lenora Ngerengere-Tamboa. The computer science teacher posted numerous videos attacking Ngerengere-Tamboa's character, claiming to have a pornographic video of her. He, however, did not respond to FBC News when asked to independently verify if there was in fact any such video and its authenticity. Following his release last week, he publicly apologized to Ngerengere-Tamboa through a post on his Kishore Kumar publication Facebook page. He also clarified that he is not a member of any political party. Taxi drivers in Namaka are still recording slow business ever since COVID-19 hit Fiji early in the year. With the year also coming to an end, the drivers have stated that it has been one of the worst business years ever. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
The taxi business in Nadi, like many others, continues to suffer from the effects of COVID-19 despite the festive season just around the corner.
Taxi business about slow. One day we $20, $15, $25 like that. We coming from Nasuri Highland. Yeah. Sometimes we only fill the gas.
These drivers have noticed that not many people are out shopping like before, and those who do show up opt for other modes of transport.
My son is not talking from the hotel, staying home. Everything happening here, no job. And now see the people, only few people here, shopping here. People got no money to give the job to us.
For most of these taxi drivers, this is their only source of income, and even in the face of despair, they have not lost hope.
Yeah, we hope just slowly might be. No, not losing. We're trying our best to just do something for our family.
For now, they're hoping the situation improves for next year. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
The Biosecurity Authority of Fiji has managed to remove 435 giant invasive iguanas from Taveuni since 2017. The authority is now raising awareness among people living on the island on the difference between the invasive iguana and the native one. Sainiani Mboilo reports.
The giant invasive iguanas are degrading the land in Taveuni as they tend to burrow deep to lay eggs.
We've removed about 435 iguanas in their solstice, adults, juveniles, hatchlings. There's been about 4,018 GII eggs prevented from laying. This means every female that we've caught that is pregnant, we cull and we remove the eggs from the stomach and count them.
A survey by Nature Fiji Marangeti indicates that people living in Taveuni can differentiate between the invasive iguana and our native crested iguana.
They saw it and they said, "We found a giant invasive iguana." And I said to them, "Are you absolutely sure? You remember your training?" They said, "Yes, this is a giant invasive iguana." And I said, "Take a picture, send it to me before you kill it." They sent it to me and it was a native iguana. So you know that there's a lot of misconception around the giant invasive iguanas.
BEF, Nature Fiji Marangeti and the United Nations Development Program will run an awareness program on Taveuni regarding the issue.
We'll have to come together to make sure that GIIs, they don't spread in Fiji, and we saw some of the graphic illustrations what the danger it is actually from this species to invade a beautiful taveuni.
People in Taveuni are being encouraged to continue catching the invasive iguana in order to protect the local habitat. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
And turning overseas, on the final day of the U.S. election campaign trail, President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden have traded barbs. There was also a last-minute push for voters to turn out as they stumped in key battleground states. And Whitney joins us now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, agriculture boosts GDP. And in growing Fiji, FRA contractors undertake new projects. Stay with us.
Pula nadang bawa perasaan kerja, gor keraki, do televisi na barong na radio Fiji One, nandomi ibiti.
Radio Fiji One, nandomi ibiti.
The agricultural sector's gross domestic product in 2019 minus sugarcane grew by 5.5% according to the Fiji Bureau of Statistics. The growth was due to the Yangona and Tara production, which contributed 29% of 208 million and 7% of 52.9 million respectively. Yangona was again identified as a possible major contributor in the near future if production continues to increase and the prices remain constant. A decline in the livestock sector was recorded last year, mainly due to brucellosis affecting the dairy industry. As the U.S. election heats up, the Dow and the S&P closed higher, with the Nasdaq posting slimmer gains on the eve of the presidential election. Nifa joins us now with the latest from the money market.
Let's review the action on the South Pacific Stock Exchange last week. 44 transactions with an approximate volume of 37,700 shares valued around $57,000 were recorded. 8 listed stocks showed share price changes, with 3 recording lower prices. The market value for last week noted a decline of 0.02% and concluded at $3.39 billion. Meanwhile, the US dollar hovers near a 1-month high as investors opted for caution before Election Day in the United States. Traders are on edge, and many have flocked to the safety of the dollars so that they are well positioned to take advantage of volatility when the election results come in. Closer to home, the risk-sensitive Aussie dollar was steady ahead of a crucial central bank policy meeting where investors will closely watch the Reserve Bank of Australia's policy decision. So we'll wait to see how this will impact the market tomorrow, Election Day in the US. That's all from your local stock market and from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Here today's local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar was generally on the rise today, gaining on all the currencies we cover with exception of the Aussie dollar, where the Sangamoli pretty much held steady. Prices were rising on the commodities market. Oil went back on the rise at just under $37 a barrel. Gold was higher at $1,896 per ounce, and silver closed up at $24.15 per ounce. With a number of projects underway, the Fiji Roads Authority has advised contractors to plan their work properly. Acting Chief Executive Kamal Prasad says currently they are not using any stabilizing agents such as cement in their rehabilitation. Prasad says the flexible repairs allow them to redo the same portion if it's damaged during rainy weather. He says contractors are working overnight to get the roads ready for sealing.
As soon as it's ready, we get sun for about 6 hours. We can go down and seal the road. Getting our contractors at that preparedness is going to be a bit of a challenge, but our boys are working. You'll see most of our works are at night now.
That's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Vinaka Whitney, and good evening in Sports Tonight. And selectors impressed with North Women's Tens. This and more coming up.
Bula FM number 2 NSR. Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Twilight Payment won the Melbourne Cup in style today, leading from start to finish. It was the second Melbourne Cup win for Irish trainer Joseph O'Brien and a special win for jockey and new father Jai McNeil in his first Melbourne Cup. Here's the last 600 meters of the race. Meanwhile, at least 100 people showed up to the Denarau Golf and Racquet Club to watch the Melbourne Cup. The White Affair-themed extravaganza was also an opportunity to showcase what the club had to offer during this downtime. Guests were treated to a fashion show, sweepstakes, and watched the race live.
It was a great opportunity, even though it was after a long weekend. We thought we'll stretch ourselves and put up a quality event that we can demonstrate to Fiji and bring in the locals to taste some fabulous food and enjoy themselves for the afternoon. Creates an opportunity for a lot of our staff who do not get as many hours to get some hours, get some energy back, feel great about themselves that they put on an event like this.
There's some positive news out of France, with Semi Randrandra expected to join the Flying Fijians later this week. Kenny Douglas hopes to win a Skipper Cup title in his career with Naita Siri Rugby, heading into the semi-finals of the competition this weekend. The fly half, who's been with the Highlanders since leaving high school in 2012, says in order to get closer to achieving that dream, they'll need to be at their best against Nandronga. Aquila Dama has more.
There's a lot of young players in the Naita Siri squad, but imagine the possibilities if they go all the way in the Skipper Cup this season.
It will mean a lot for us young players to win the Skipper Cup this year. I mean for the winner of Naita Siri, but most importantly just for us, for this bunch of young fellas. Yeah, it will mean a lot for us.
However, Nandronga will not be a pushover, and Naita Siri will have to dig deep if it wants to beat the former champions on Saturday.
Yeah, we're just going to go back and regroup and try to come back better in the next game.
While Naita Siri and Nandronga feature in one semi-final, Suva will host Namosi in the second.
Since both have now, the Fair Brother is gone, Suva was looking forward to challenge for the Fair Brother, and Namosi was hoping. I think the next challenge for them is the Skipper with its prize money and so forth.
Suva and Namosi will play at the ANZ Stadium on Saturday, while Naita Siri hosts Nandronga at Ratu Thakombo Park in Nosori. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Promising new players were identified at the Northern Tens competition in Lambasa's Subrel Park yesterday. The one-day competition saw 10 women's teams from Rakaunrobe, Mbua, Maduata and Taviuni showcasing their skills in front of national selectors. Tali Materukula with the details.
The Northern Ruggers didn't disappoint national selectors, displaying some good rugby.
Really impressed. A lot of talent shown today. Thought there was not much to be seen, but spending the whole day looking at all these young girls, they showcase their talent.
The first of its kind to be held in the north, Boa manager Temalesi Satini says the Tens was an enlightening experience.
It's going to be an eye-opener to the players, especially being in the rural area. This is going to be develop the girls in a new dimension and in a higher dimension.
Former National Sevens rep William Emaya says the competition is a good platform for Northern women's teams to hone their skills.
A big opportunity for them to come and represent Taiwan for the two teams that will be selected for the Northern team. And, yes, I'm proud with what they do. Even we lost in the first game, but there's a lot of things they have to prove it.
Two Northern teams have been selected for the National Tens competition scheduled for the 21st of this month. Tali Materkula, FBC Sports.
Women's Inter-District Championship winner Mba is now looking ahead to the next assignment. After claiming the IDC title with a 2-1 win over Lambasa yesterday, Ba captain Coletta Likuduludula says the champion versus champion is next. After scoring both goals in the final, she adds Mba is still a young side but will aim to maintain their form in the CBC.
We really worked hard for this, knowing teams like Lambasa, Rewa and Suva are going to come strong and want to win this tournament too. But I believe the most important thing is teamwork, encouraging each other, helping each other on and off the field, working on our mistakes to improve in the next game. And yeah, I believe that's helped. And now we're just going to have to focus on our next tournament, which is CVC.
Mental toughness is an area of focus for the Rewa football side heading into the last round of the Vodafone Premier League. The Delta Tigers and Suva are in contention for the league title. which will be decided after the final round of matches on Sunday. With fans' expectations building pressure on both teams, Rewa coach Marika Rondu says psychological fitness will be vital.
So that's all about football. We will go back and motivate the boys, make sure that they are in a good space in terms of mental area. So psychologically, we talk to them, set them up, because we need to repeat this kind of performance, but a better performance.
In play of the day, the word in New Zealand rugby circles is that it's time, surely, for try-scoring sensation Salesi Rayasi to take the step up from bit-part player to full-time starter at Super Rugby level. This as the son of former Flying Fijians fullback Felipe Rayasi managed a hat-trick of tries in Auckland's 31-10 win over rivals Waikato in the Mitre 10 Cup over the weekend. That's it from Sports Tonight.
Baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu Radio Fiji बहुत Radio Fiji रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
And it's weather time now with Angie.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather World. Hope the great long weekend treated you well. Few on and off showers were a disturbance, but overall it was a great relaxing time. Oh, and also welcome to November. Cyclone season begins here, so hope we are beginning to prep for it. We have more shower-like weather now, so let's see what the other centers encountered. In the west, cloudy skies with overcast conditions. Showers are likely for the later part of night. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, the sun shone for a bit before grumpy showers took over. And up north, more showers in the picture. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, high tide at 9:12 p.m. with low tide at 3:40 a.m. Sunrise will be at 6:25. For tomorrow, it's full of showers, so ensure to keep warm and dry. Tomorrow's temps, Lambasa will have temperatures soaring to 32 degrees, even with rain. And looking further on to Thursday, nope, not a chance of those showers clearing anytime soon. Well, that's all from the Weather World. Have a fantastic evening. It's back to the main girl.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fiji Pulse, we asked, should the Flying Fijians be playing in France amid the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think this time is not really good. It's not really good to have games around because most of our players and everybody, they will be affected by this COVID-19. So I think the game should be postponed.
Because this time is not good, eh? This time is the sickness, COVID-19. Why they can go there? Don't stop them. Don't go come back Fiji again. Fiji is good place. Fiji is good everything.
Oh, this time should be don't play. It should become because three have got that COVID-19 there. Is very dangerous. Should become don't play.
I think the players went because they had to represent our nation.
Recapping the main stories for tonight, government scheme creates more than 500 jobs. Police force addresses insensitivities and witness breakdown in court. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. Our poll question, we're asking, should those found breaching LTA laws in buses be prosecuted? Visit our FBC website to answer. And in our shot for today, first one for our short week. This was captured by Tevita Ndakuyao at the now famous Nasese seawall in Suva. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe. Bye for now.
कुमार स्वामी नायक गोम्बो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे, हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2, देश की धड़कन।